The latest USDA crop progress report reveals 20% of Nebraska corn and 28% of Nebraska soybeans have been harvested. And according to the USDA National Agricultural Statistics Service, Nebraska corn stocks in on-farm storage increased 30% compared to last year. For soybeans, those on-farm stocks skyrocketed by 91%. Now, the change in stocks may suggest grain storage is a strategy farmers are using more than in years past. This week, I was joined by Oklahoma State University's Dr. Carol Jones. She's one of only a handful of grain storage engineers in the U.S. and tells me storage is a little different where she is than in Nebraska.
A lot of our products are the same, but Oklahoma doesn't have near as much on-farm storage as you do here in Nebraska. In Oklahoma, we're a commodity state where we harvest it, take it to the local elevator, and it goes into the commodity market from there. Where here in Nebraska, I see an awful lot of on-farm storage. Some of your family farm storage is as big as our commercial storage.
What are some general rules to follow when it comes to grain bin storage? Does it all come down to just keeping that grain the right temperature, keeping it dry? What other recommendations?
That really is the basics, temperature and moisture. If you can manage those two things, you've got a leg up on the game. But there's some other things you need to think about, and it's that your marketing strategy is one thing to keep in mind. Are you going to handle this long term in your facility, or is it going to move out in the next month or so? You can handle something a little wetter if you're not going to store it as long. So it comes down to marketing. It's all one big system. Everything that you do and the decisions you make in a grain facility all plays into the quality of that product and the safety and the environment and how much money you're going to make.
And here in Nebraska, we've had a very wet growing season. I know you said in Oklahoma it's been a little wet for you guys too.
Not
nearly like what we've had.
No.
But what are some recommendations for before you store that crop that may have a little more moisture than what it should?
Yeah, again, back to marketing. If you're wanting to store something for a long period of time, you might want to rethink that this year, because it's going to be wetter going in, and that's always causes us some problems. Planning to monitor is just really important this year. We've just pulled out all of the stops on monitoring. Everything you ever thought you knew about holding grain, this is your year to practice that, because we're going to have some challenges.
How often does the grain need to be checked by the farmer once it's stored?
If you're over about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature's over 50 degrees, I would check it every week if you can, every couple of weeks at least. Now when we get into the winter, when it's colder out, that grain's a lot more stable, so you can go once a month. But when it's warmer and the insects have the potential of being active, and mold depends on where you're at in the state, but mold will develop more over 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So checking it weekly is a really good plan if you have the time to do that.
And if all the precautions are followed when you're storing that grain, how long is it going to last, or is it eventually going to go bad?
Oh gosh, if you've got everything, if it's dry and everything is in place and good quality, you can store it for years. It really is a stable product. That first year is the most critical, but if you're keeping an eye on the insects and they don't invade, and it's a dry climate or dry atmosphere in the bin, you can store for several years.